share the news in open dialogue and discuss how it might affect the business world. We speak with different leaders on crisis navigation and management, as well as experts in professional and personal self betterment. It's meant to be a break, some learning, sharing of good news, and ideas to start people moving forward. It's called Think Tank. And we'd like to introduce everyone. So, on the top left corner, and if I'm not thoroughly introducing you as you should, please let me know and please jump in. But there is Robbie in the top left corner. He's global chief thinker person who helps people set up their events and experiences to start getting them thinking better and get to their better ideas faster. He's a master designer as far as that's concerned. Next to him, normally in a different window, is Christine, who is COO of Make Ready Experiences. So think of your typical hotel, restaurant, retail store, and think how that is a service, and think how much cooler that could be if it were an experience. And that is what Christine and her company does. There is Kimball, who is live from LA Live, where he is an executive producer who puts on all sorts of corporate and entertainment shows where he manages all those little bells and whistles and lights and switches behind the scenes to make sure everyone looks great on stage and delivers the content as they should. There's Alberto Elizondo Ponce, who's got a fresh cut. Did you do that yourself?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Photographer extraordinaire. And all kinds of things, but really does a lot of sports, but not as much as that lately. Always nice. There is Lori. Lori, I don't know Lori's last name, and I believe I have this correct. She's CEO of a nonprofit that provides housing for all sorts of different people. I killed that. That's wrong. But Lori, who is Lori?
Hi, I'm Lori Little. I'm in Dallas, and I run a nonprofit that raises capital all over the country for developers of affordable housing.
Okay.
So for homeless, senior housing, everything you're hearing in the news right now. So we help raise capital to build that.
There's Doug Carroll, and Doug is a strategic advisor and coach to CEOs and boards in their times of challenge or crisis. He's done that for decades now with all sorts of brands from Apple to Disney to AT&T. And that's very interesting for us as he brings in all these, not here's what possibly could happen or you should try, but things that have worked and haven't worked and how you should look at that. And then rounding it off is Dr. Paulus in Arlington on his porch. And Dr. Paulus is a chief psychologist. He's a professor. He's been a dean. He's been a fellow. He's been a practitioner. He's an experiencer. But he's really focused the majority of his career on collaborative innovation and creativity. What is it that makes some people so much more creative than others? And how can we all be a little bit more creative and innovative in what we do? So we appreciate having everyone here. I haven't checked YouTube to see how many we have there. But today's kind of a happy hour kick around. We encourage you to bring your adult beverages or cigars. And we kind of wrap up what happened this week and talk about how that's going to affect us moving forward. And sometimes jump right into any sort of news. Anyone have any news they want to share?
One thing that we're still that I've been conscious of is I don't have direct deposit information set up with the IRS because I always owe money, so I just send a check. But to receive some of these refunds or rebates or grants, it will happen faster if we can set it up online with direct deposit. And we've been watching and waiting for that website to be posted. It has not yet posted, but it is saying coming mid-April. So just for those that aren't connected, direct deposit, it's something to think about. Watch for that opportunity to load your information in, and I'm sure it'll come faster than a check from the
We've been talking about that all week. It was interesting. I'm using, my lender is Iberia, a smaller bank. And I've been way down the road, and I guess I was officially submitted on Tuesday. But it was funny. I got a note last night from Chase saying they are now ready to take your loan applications, which I thought that was a little late. But anyway,
Well, they start on the 10th.
is that
Yeah, apparently that's when they start. They're going to start,
right?
10.
Or
so they
what?
start mailing on the 10th or funding on the 10th?
That you can apply for. You can apply for
Oh.
that. Start applying from the 10th.
Yeah, I just saw that. I just saw that today that's gone live now where you can do that.
Christine, all of yours that you did, have you gotten any feedback as to, okay, this application's good and it's in process, or have you gotten
Yes.
any feedback other than just sending it out?
We use a smaller, Huntington Bank is who we use. And so
Okay.
they're lenders on a lot of our different hotel operations. But yes, we have received confirmation that it's been accepted and that it's in the process, which is good. And even though we submitted all of our businesses on the same day, the acceptance came at different days.
Yeah, that was
And
interesting
Christine-
with Bill, and he had a really good point in that when you owe the bank a lot of money, they want to make sure that you're getting others so that you can stay in business and keep
Yeah.
going. That was
Is that what he
funny
said?
when he
Yeah.
said that
Yeah.
yesterday. Lori was about to say something.
So I will tell you what I call the P3 loan, because I hate to say payroll protection program under the CARES Act. That went live for businesses last Friday. So it's not the 10th, it was last Friday. Now there's other pieces that are there. In Huntington, Huntington's one of my clients, and they have saw more applications this week than they saw all of last year. So they've done a really good job of getting out ahead of things. But we're finding that smaller banks are much faster on the processing. I have had the same experience. We applied this week and we got news last night that we had not only made it through, but we'd been accepted. So
Yay.
just keep pushing. But I do find the smaller banks are a little bit ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
Some of the bigger banks are saying, Bank of America, not yet, but Wells Fargo said they've met their cap, and they're done. So
Wow.
until they get more stimulus money, so make certain you're getting it in on that very earliest day you can get whatever stimulus package you're in.
And I
On
had
the
heard,
business side, I saw Main Street stuff just came out yesterday, and it's still like a big mystery around all.
I
what
heard
they do.
that Wells Fargo had run into big trouble because of what had happened a year or two ago with all their mess. They've been throttled back that they could only do so many loans at a time, so they wouldn't get put back in that same scenario. So they're trying to figure out the software and approvals to make that happen for them. But that was just specific to them.
Yeah.
Alberto, I think what you were talking about was for sole proprietors. Is that correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was today. Yeah,
Yeah, but the payroll protection was the last week. That's right.
correct.
Yeah, but payroll protection for sole proprietors is today. You're right.
So did you get it in, Alberto?
No, I've been drinking all day.
Okay.
But later.
I'm cutting your hair.
The day is not over.
Yeah, it's not over yet.
Alberto, what does it look like from the moment you put your feet on the ground in the morning till right now on a Friday? What does that look like for you?
Well, it's a coffee with the view.
Okay.
And then
You don't go down on the street. For those of you that don't know, he lives in a high rise in downtown Dallas, but you don't go down and say hello to any of your friends on the street anymore?
no, usually the homeless guys that I know aren't there anymore. They're just gone.
Okay.
So
They're gone. God, they just left you like that, huh?
Yeah,
Is
they're
it-
gone.
Is it a ghost town out there, Alberto?
I'm sorry.
Is it a ghost town out there?
Yeah, it's beautiful actually. It's the way it was when we first moved in to downtown in 2001.
Wow.
Nobody
So-
there.
So it's desolate. There's hardly any traffic at all. It's rare that you see any cars on the streets. It's rare that you see any people, which is amazing. It's exactly the way it was in 2001.
Alberto, what building are you in?
In the Gables, Tower, Republic Tower. Yeah. We've been here for 8 years, but we moved around in downtown. We started at the Valley Dallas building and then just kind of moved around and ended up here.
Are you shooting anything? Are you just trying to get out and do nothing?
Just my mouth. That's it. Just my mouth.
Shoot your mouth.
Yeah.
You better be careful. She's going to leave you if you keep doing that too, though.
Yeah. She's working from home, so
Oh God. Right.
got to deal with me all day.
Ooh.
So we're in Uptown in a high rise, and I was out on the Katy Trail and finally was like, I got to get away from the Katy Trail because every millennial I think was out for a little bit of walk today, and there was no social distancing going on there.
Easy on the millennial.
Well,
Right?
it's the snowflake generation. It's not even the
Yeah.
millennials, the one after you guys.
Thank you for
Let's
quality.
see.
And usually it's Doug saying to be careful with the age references, and how the tables have turned today. I want to ask for a little bit of empathy from the group. Bonus points if you know where I'm coming to you from. I don't know if anybody recognizes this or not.
No.
I need to make it larger. My virtual background today is of the Gershwin Theater on Broadway in New York, because that is where I'm supposed to be right now.
Oh wow.
Well, that's what it would look like. No one
Yeah.
would be there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the only one here.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that's the, we're going to get back to business at some point here, but so much business won't be active until people are back into their normal flow and regular life and feel comfortable going out again. Right. I mean, and Broadway is a great example, or any of the sports stuff.
Yep.
Right. We were speaking.
I know I missed.
Go ahead, Robbie.
Well,
go ahead.
I was gonna, Kimball. Did you see the sport? You said sports related, that Major League Baseball today has come out, and a lot of the different sports have discussed different ways that they might be able to kick off season.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know about the NBA. I know NHL season's over. The NBA hasn't said that they're completely.
Yes,
done, right?
NBA actually has.
They have. Okay.
Well, the NBA, the finals or the playoffs are supposed to start today.
The playoffs are supposed to start today, but Major League Baseball has finally come out and they've actually got a concrete preliminary plan that would call for all of the games. I shouldn't say all of the games would either be in Arizona or Florida. This was just announced today. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I heard that. They talked about Arizona was what I had heard, but
yeah, well, now they're saying Arizona, Florida, and then the format would be, the teams would be divided exactly like they're divided in spring training. So many, as you know, teams have full-on facilities or share facilities in both Arizona and Florida. What they would do is they would play the games with zero attendance, but they would basically keep all of the teams in those two states and the respective areas, cities. I guess Florida has 3 domed stadiums that they could play in. But it's really the first major sport that's come out with a plan that, could conceivably work. They haven't given a date as to when they might actually make that decision. But I just thought that was interesting that they've come out and, said, listen, this is an idea that we think could work.
the NBA was talking.
Awesome. What's that?
The NBA was talking about finishing their seasons, like maybe late May or June, and trying to wrap it up. But then they were talking about, instead of starting, when is it? November, when they usually start.
October.
About, hey, let's do a Christmas Day tip-off to start, and carry it all the way through June. Or was it even farther than June? Was it? I guess it would be farther than June. Yeah. Did you hear that? Who heard that?
Yeah, the season starts in October now and typically ends in June, right, Luke?
Oh, okay. So to start in December and maybe go all the way through the summer.
Well, part of that is they've actually been looking for an excuse in the NBA to reset their season.
Yep.
So there's there's work going on at the NBA to say, can we use this? Can we create some sort of a shortened playoff and everything else and end this year and then restart the 21 season around Christmas Day, which is fundamentally when they, if anybody's an NBA fan, that's when it kicks off anyway with all the big NBA games. And that's the first time anybody pays attention because you've gotten college football out of the way. The NFL's kind of on its, there's only a few teams still playing, and the NBA could pick it up. So it'll be interesting to see if they use this as a full reset, to kind of put the season in a different spot.
Doug and I had an interesting conversation. We're helping some people move some medical things, but one of the guys who's transporting stuff just transported a whole bunch of riot helmets or police helmets that had a built-in screen and camera, a heat sensing camera, so that they can look at crowds or people walking into a store or anywhere and see who's got a fever or not, and pull them aside.
Wow.
Well,
So that's like actively in place, being used right now.
Amazing.
And if you look, the other thing that has gotten almost no play on the press, which I was surprised about, is Dr. Fauci is starting to float the idea of a coronavirus immunity tag that you would get if you want to go back to work, if you want to go anywhere else, you'd have a lanyard with an ID that would say you've been tested and you're okay. And if you don't have that lanyard, you can't go in public. And
Until you shook the hand of somebody else who had it.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Doug, aren't they already using an app? Doesn't China already have an app that they're using? Okay.
They do.
How does that work?
Poorly is my understanding.
Okay. Okay.
No, every family gets a QR code, a green QR code for their phone, and you get out for 2 hours a day. And if you're caught out wherever without that QR code, off you go to somewhere no one knows. But that's what they're doing.
They had a problem with
the
piracy.
crazy thing was, look at what Seoul did. Oh, really?
Yeah, that the problem hadn't been the app itself. It's a fairly simple app from what I understand, but they've already had people that are pirating and giving you, if you want to be out longer or you don't want to take the test, you can buy a QR code that looks like that and spoofs the system.
So interesting thing happening on Sunday. I heard about it earlier this week and then heard him on the radio this morning. Andre Bocelli is doing a Easter concert in some massive piazza without anybody there. So it's just him performing. And he was at home and this morning or whenever it was recorded and played a little bit on the piano and started singing Ave Maria, and it was pretty crazy. But I think that'll be a unbelievable concert because you've got everyone literally on their balconies watching in all of Italy for sure, and who knows how many other people.
Wow.
Hey, Christine and I were talking. This is off topic of
Uh-oh.
Robbie, lost you.
No audio. No audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does anyone know anyone that's been hospitalized?
Mm-mm. No.
Sam, do you?
One of the guys I'm working with, his partner, the typical story, he's 42, he's a big athlete and all that stuff, gets sick, finally gets into the hospital. He's there for 2.5 weeks. He's released. He's fine. A week later, he's really bad. And then 3 days later, he was gone.
God.
Wow.
Have you heard that the data on the machines, the ventilators, are not clear whether they're useful or not, because still about 83% of the people who are on ventilators die.
Yeah.
It's not clear that if you had no ventilators, the results were any better, which is kind of ironic. If you had no ventilator, do 17% of the people die or not? because the ventilators have negative effects. They have, the whole process eventually weakens you. So
Yep.
it's a kind of interesting issue.
Well, the other thing
And then
is
the other
too-
thing is you don't get on the ventilator until you're at a certain level of you're pretty sick at that point anyway. So that kind of skews the whole results too, I bet.
Well, and if you actually talk to an ER doc, what they tell you is the number one reason they're using ventilators is because they have absolutely no other treatment. And otherwise you'd just be sitting in a bed with good hopes and wishes. And so when they get to a certain stage, they at least want it to look like they're treating you. And the only thing they've got is a ventilator.
And then I heard
It's
today
a
on the
scary
news
bug.
that China has just gone through a whole round of testing, and they have a vaccine that's tested really high and worked, and now they're going through a second round.
Right.
Right. Great.
There's one here too. I can't remember who it is. But there's another one here that's being fast tracked that has gotten some really great early results.
Did anyone see Pandemic, the series on Netflix?
No.
Well, they track like 8 different characters having different things going on, whether it was a nurse or a scientist or what have you. But one couple were researchers, and they were basically coming up with vaccines for any sort of flu. And their whole thing through that whole series was hoping to get millions of dollars worth of funding from Bill Gates. And they got it, and they were actually having really positive results. I'm not sure when the pandemic stopped shooting, but I'd be curious to see where they stand now, if they're part of this solution.
And speaking of that, I would imagine that all the TV shows that should be shooting now, are they shooting or are they not?
No, they're done.
Not, which means we're going to be still on Netflix this fall.
Yeah, and that's interesting too, to see the movies are, obviously not opening in the theaters. They're opening straight now on Netflix.
Yeah.
So that could change everything again as well.
Well, there are already, people, because they have nothing else to do, I guess, doing predictions on how many movie theaters won't open up simply because the experience that people are having now direct to video, and somebody's tracking all those numbers, and Hollywood will refocus dollars to direct to video, and you'll see a lot of the non-experiential movie theaters not make it back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, with technology now, that's been for years now, really. It's just a cool experience to go to the movies.
Yep.
With technology now, and with what a lot of us have at home, the experience is better and far less expensive just to stay at home. It's the same element with professional sports, right?
Absolutely.
It's like go to a Cowboy game and spend literally a couple $1,000s for a quality experience, or stay at home and watch it on TV on your big screen at home,
and watch them lose either way.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Watch out.
Sorry,
now.
Alberto.
Sorry, Kimball. Doug's
Has
a hater,
anyone done
I
a
think.
Netflix party? Have you seen that?
What's that?
A Netflix
Where you watch
party?
together with other people?
Yeah, so you sign into Netflix, and then you say, I want to watch with whoever, and you click all those people, and then basically you have a live chat, and it's synced at everyone's screen or everyone's TV.
No, really?
That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, so Gracie's been doing that. It's like, I don't know, it's like you don't have to be a parent or whatever. You're like, okay, you're there with your friends talking and watching.
Oh, wow.
So can they see one another, or is it just this?
No, but that's got to be that close away, adding the streaming component onto it.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I haven't heard that.
Me either. That's great.
God, man, it's
Great.
crazy.
It's like what we were doing 2-3 years ago when we were live tweeting
Yeah.
whatever TV show. It's just all integrated and it's synced, and that's the cool thing. Everyone's watching the exact same second.
Well, that's what they're doing in gaming. They do that in gaming all the time.
Yeah.
You see the one where
Yeah, that's
Highland Park Presbyterian's having a choir that's filmed by everyone, filmed individually. They put it all together into a massive choir, producing it. So they all sing individually and they put it together, like 30, 40, 50 of them singing
cool.
the Hallelujah chorus.
Is that live?
They're going to do that during their service time. So the director's singing and they're all recorded it and they put it all together into one big choir production.
I don't know how they sync that live.
There's been a handful
interesting.
of there's been a handful of those viral type videos where so I don't know if you guys saw the end of James Corden show. I think one day last week he had Ben Platt and the cast of Dear Evan Hansen sing "You Will Be Found," and they were all synced up on video. They had, I guess
that was
taken
live, was it?
video. It wasn't live, no.
Right. The John Krasinski or whatever his name is, and Some More Good News or whatever his show is, he had the Hamilton crew on at the end. And I was watching that going, was that live or was that? I don't think it was live, but it was really cool.
Is that what you were talking about the other night, Sam, with the Country Music Awards?
Well, Country Music Awards, that was neat. I don't know if you saw that. So they were supposed to do Country Music Awards, and of course you can't bring everyone together. So one of the groups said, well, we'll organize it. And they just basically checked in almost like this with all the country music stars who basically had an iPad set up. I don't think it was particularly live, but it was all captured on like an iPad or someone's phone. And that was the interesting thing on a production level, that's now accepted. It's like, oh, okay, that's fine. So how much of that carries through? It was good, but it was definitely
Alberto fell over.
That you'd seen
that's not the first or last stool that he's ever fallen off of.
Yeah.
He had to get
So
a
I was
reload.
going to say, Abilene Christian University has a YouTube clip out where there were 500 alumni and they all sang the same song and then recorded it all together. You would swear there had to be a huge chorus. It's the Lord bless you and keep you, all in the same room. And they were everybody doing individual clips. So it's unbelievable.
Yeah, there was a Nashville choir. There was a Nashville choir that did that with "It Is Well with My Soul," and it was great. There's a lot of that going on. It's pretty cool to see.
Did anyone download that app and do some deep breathing? Honestly,
downloaded app, not used.
Not done it. Try it. It's really cool.
What I thought was the first thing the first thing that is just amazing is that, obviously you put it on the lower part of your belly, and it's amazing how it can detect your breathing.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath in the music. That to me is amazing.
Well, that's just that actuator in there, but it's so timed and it's constantly redoing it, which is resyncing, which that was and that's really trippy.
That's Rob talking the whole time too, right?
No, remember he told us it was some special.
I thought it was him. Okay.
No, it was some special yoga master person. He was all excited that she did it or something.
Hey,
or he
Sammy,
did it.
I know you mentioned it, but do you have Jessica and Liani lined up next week at all yet?
Yeah, I'm speaking to her on Monday morning, and we're figuring out what day. I think we'll probably do it on Wednesday.
Because
that'll be fun. I'd love to see them do a live interaction with us.
See if you can do that. Or maybe we meet them first, right, and let them explain the whole concept, and then maybe.
Well, that's what the whole thing could be. You start with that, the importance of that. It ties back in with Doug and Dr. Paulus's stuff, and then we physically just go do it.
Yeah.
And Liani should be on here playing for us, doing her happy hour.
We definitely, we need her by next Friday.
Well, so like my daughter, some of is a dance teacher and runs, along with a couple other folks, 4 studios that do acting, dancing, and teaching here in town. And they've actually started doing, and I can't remember what she says, what they call it, but they're doing dancing with, drinks and dancing or something for the parents twice a week.
Really?
and they're averaging about 50 kids on their, on each class. But they had, when they did the parents one, they had 120 parents on the video for an hour.
Yeah, parents are trying to learn how to dance for all of the TikTok videos now.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious to flip through TikTok and to watch some. I don't think Lucas would ever even attempt to get us to spend an entire day learning a dance so that we could post it to music on TikTok. But it's hilarious, and I mean, listen, this sucks for everybody, but it's fun. And I'm not a huge fan of TikTok. I'm on it and pay attention to it because of my kids. But I do get sucked into it because there are a lot of parents that do a lot of goofy things just because they're at home with their kids. And it's just one of the other things that I hopefully from a relationship standpoint are pulling people together, and kids seeing their parents do things that they might not normally do unless it's happy hour Friday, right?
Robbie, I want to know what you put on that grill. You sent a picture of that grill today. What do you have cooking on that thing?
We have a brisket on there. It's been on there for about put it on at 7 this morning. We'll take it off here. Lauren already texted me and asked me how that brisket was going. I had a call with her this morning, but we'll take it off here in about an hour. So we're excited about eating that. So
unless it was a 14-hour pulled pork the other day.
Okay, very nice.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Are you using that beeferator or that big oven you've got there, Doug?
Oh Lord, no! That thing's just more of a pain in the neck than anything else. It's cool.
Yeah, that's just it. It's all that stuff is cool, but I have an old school smoker that's it's a ton of work, but it's just fun. And you got to burn your clothes when you're done cooking.
Has anyone done masterclass, signed up for that and watched any of those?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
What'd you think? Is it worth it?
No.
Oh, now wait a minute. It depends what the subject matter is.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Well, but you can pay for one class, or if you basically pay for 2 classes, you get all of them.
If I were in the creative space, I would tell you, I think it would be worth the money 1,000,000 times over. When I'm in LA working with Narita, we get a lot of the folks that run through that. The ones I've seen the production is great. There's a lot of them that have deep wisdom, but a lot of them are too technical on the artist side for me, and so it's not that I would say that's bad. I'd say you just need to be in that space.
Okay.
Well, today for my teams meeting, I'm doing a full team with our company twice a week. And, after a while, there's not a whole lot to say twice a week. So I've kind of gravitated to a little bit of business and a little bit of fun. And so we had someone who is just an amazing cook. Every time there's a corporate event and she brings something, everybody wants to eat her stuff. So I had her figure out an easy recipe that everybody should have in their stuff that's in their kitchen. And for about 8 minutes of our session today, she did a little great, here's how you cook it. And I hadn't told anybody. I had no idea. Could be a big flop or not. And I got more pings, especially from all the guys going, that was the coolest thing. Oh my gosh. She sent the recipe out afterwards. It was just kind of a really neat way to showcase talent.
Okay, what'd you cook?
I didn't cook. Somebody else on my team. She made like this taco pasta salad. And you just pour all these vegetables in, and she had a rest, and it's super spicy. And apparently everybody went and made it. And I've been getting like texts of here's mine. It was a great way for them to connect that I wasn't sure would work, but I'm finding all different little things kind of work to connect people.
We ought to have Kelly do a dance thing for your team.
Yeah. I don't know if that would work. We'll see.
Oh, well, I'm thinking of some of your team members. I would get a chuckle out of watching a few of your team members do that.
We could just sell tickets to that. That would be quite amusing. I have very analytical staff. So
here's a question for Alberto in Dallas sports. What's the deal with Dak hanging out with Dez? Isn't that hurting himself doing that?
No way. But you have someone that wants to be on a team so bad and that loves the team so much, let him play. It means he cares.
But that's not showing necessarily wise leadership for an unsigned quarterback, is it?
They're fine.
Okay.
He'll get some. This is my friend that has a master class right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an absolutely beautiful book. It's really thick, but it's a beautiful book, and he's on master class right now. So he just got on. So if you're signed up for that, you should watch
Who is it?
It's David Yarrow. He's a buddy of mine from London.
Huh.
So that's his and he shoots all these amazing. Hold on, let me show you a good one. One of my favorite shots. Hold on. Here's one that's just beautiful.
Wow.
He does all animals, huh?
Yeah, it's all animals, but they're really.
Alberto, was he the guy that was in town doing dogs?
No, that's another guy.
Okay.
Remember we went to that bar for that meeting, and they had that coyote going right through the bar?
Ooh, that's
It's
crazy.
It's humongous print at the society at the, what is that? This is some bar we went to with Sam. Us three went.
Really?
me?
Where?
Yeah, it was at a bar that you can't get into.
Oh, remember that down in the Trinity area?
Yeah.
Remember we went and met that.
Remember
So that picture was there.
Okay.
The
That's
business.
him.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The business
he's
guy.
he's a super cool dude, and you guys have a chance, watch his master class. It's pretty
Kimball,
amazing.
you're backing
That's
into
in
that.
that business club down there, right? When I
Yeah.
forget what meeting we went to down there, but right. Okay.
Yeah.
Alberto,
Backing into that fire, Kimball. Be
yeah,
careful.
Alberto needed a little aloha sunset happy hour look so he could enjoy his cocktail. There you go, Alberto.
All right.
All right, well, what's up?
Wrap this up.
All right. Well, let's wrap this up. Unless anyone has anything else to share.
What's next? Do you know what's
on Monday we can we've got and if anyone has any suggestions, we've probably got 5 or 6 people that we're reaching out to that from various different walks of life that can add. And like I said, I'll speak with Jessica in the morning on Monday to see if she can join. And then we'll just be back at 2:00 on Monday, and I'll put out a social post earlier in the day if we have anything in particular lined up, or maybe we jump into step 2 with Doug.
Well,
And
I've got one other thought for everybody to start thinking about, right? So
Okay.
I was with another client earlier today talking to them, and given that the political, economic, and business leader momentum seems to be headed toward some sort of a reopening, I'm going to call it May 1st, okay? One thing I would say we might want to start talking about is, okay, if we're only 2 to 3 weeks away, how do you start to wrap your head around the steps and the requirements, the communication, the care and feeding, the re-recruiting of all of those people to get a fast start when you start again? It may be time to pivot from what are you doing while everybody's out to start to have the discussions on how do we get going again, and tips and tricks we can bring together to say, this is how we start reaching out to the team. This is what we need to start doing. That might be of interest to everybody if we start thinking about that kind of action item stuff, is how do we get going again?
Yeah, all about staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
Yep.
sounds good.
any thoughts on that, Dr. Paulus?
Yeah, that's very interesting, because I've been thinking about the big philosophical issue of what's the value of all these things we've given up versus the values of what we've gained. We've saved, we're going to have 60,000 people dying at a cost of $5 trillion in the economy, right? But what about the loss of all these other things? And it's a very crude thing to talk about at Easter time, right? But in a way, the economy is people, it's life, right? Life is doing things. It's not just sitting like we're doing, it's doing things as well. And so I think it's very interesting that Cuomo talked about each life is, invaluable. Well, no, that's not true, because we let people die from the flu, 50,000 a year. We don't shut the economy down. So how do you value, how you decide these things, and what's the cost of all these things we're not doing? And there's a guy named Cass Sustein who tried to do some of that, try to look at the value of different aspects of life, and what's the value of an old person dying versus a young person dying. And people don't like that, but in a way, the economy is about value. What's the value of the different things we do? And when do we shut down? When we have, what's the criteria for shutting down, and the quality of life for all these people? What's happening to everybody else? It's a deep issue, and I'd love to have an algorithm to figure that out.
All right, Alberto, if you can work on that algorithm, that would be great. We're going to need that by Monday.
Okay.
You need a pencil sharpener. We have one. We'll send it over to you, Alberto.
Okay.
Perfect.
I need a few more drinks to figure that one out.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining. Wash your hands, stay healthy, and we'll see you on Monday.
Take care.
Carol.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you.
Bye-bye.